Now, you're probably wondering, saying to yourself, I wonder if that priest happens to be our new pastor. And if that's what you're thinking, the answer, in fact, be yes. So my name is Father Ken Zaccagnini. Most people are thrown off by the last name. When they see it in print, they try to say the name. It has an interior silent G. A lot of people try to say the name using that G, but it just becomes very difficult. So it's a real simple name. We'll try it together. Together, just repeat after me, Zaccagnini. Now, if you go like this, it's a little easier. So go like that, and now try it. Try it. Zaccagnini. Doesn't that work out pretty smooth? You know, back when I was informed that I was being transferred, and at the time Monsignor Gaston had informed the parish here that he was being transferred and moving on, and I knew at that point then I was coming here to St. Margaret Mary in Lower Borough, I said to myself, I want to learn as much as I can about this parish. I then discovered that this parish has a website, so I went onto the website to try to read your bulletins, read past bulletins, to get a feel for the parish itself. Now, at that time, I discovered that Monsignor Gaston's homilies have been recorded and they are on YouTube, so I watched the last 3 weeks of his homilies. And 2 times out of those 3 weeks, he mentioned the fact that I have a pickup truck. So I did something this morning that I'll never do again. I decided to drive over here to church. Now, the rectory is located way, way, way over there. And I drove over here this morning, no traffic jams. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to do this again because after this Sunday forward, I'll just walk over. But I thought maybe people want to see the truck he talked about. So I have it parked out there in front. And I parked it right next to that sign. And I parked next to the sign because I thought that would be one less set of doors that could hit it. So that's where it's located. You know, whenever I did get transferred, and Monsignor Gaston mentioned the fact that he was being transferred, 29 people from this parish sent me a very beautiful welcome. I thought that was really nice, that 29 of you would take the time to do that. And every one of those welcomes all kind of mentioned the same thing. Every one of them said welcome, and everyone, without exception, told me in those emails, they said, we will miss Monsignor Gaston. And every time I read that, I felt good about that. Not the fact that you're going to miss him and your heart's broke, and naturally you feel so connected to him, but I said to myself, clearly, after all that he accomplished working with you, you working with him, being here 16 and a half years, that's the only thing that makes sense. Anything less than that would not have made sense to me. So that always felt good to me. Every one of those 29 people said, we're going to miss him. I thought to myself, great. Because if that wasn't mentioned, I would say to myself, what chance do I have here if people aren't recognizing the fact they're going to miss him after such an incredible period of time? Every so often, people say to me, is the priesthood lonely? And the answer to that question is, no, really, I haven't been lonely as a priest. But every so often, I get a little smattering of loneliness. And that happens only on the first weekend of each new assignment I've had over all these years. That happened today at this 11 o'clock Mass. You know, I'm standing in the back, and I'm saying to myself, I have to travel from the back of the church all the way up to the presider's chair, and all those eyes are going to be looking at me. And that's an incredible feeling. And then when I walk in, what do you guys do? Turn sideways. That made that travel from back there all the way to the chair even more difficult. But when I got to the chair and I looked out, now I was at St. Barbara's Parish 5.5 years, and it was just a great assignment. For whatever reason, the grace of the good Lord, it seemed like everything I touched there turned to gold. And I fell in love literally with those people after 5.5 years. And when I was walking down the center aisle, just this incredible feeling of loneliness came into my heart. When I got to that chair and I looked out, I said to myself, those aren't the faces that I've fallen in love with the past 5.5 years. And there was an initial feeling in my heart that says, Kenny, your truck's right out the door, run up there, jump in your truck, and you just might be able to make it to their next Mass. So I could be with those I love. I also then thought, Monsignor Gaston, he was here for 16 and a half years. 1 year less and 3 times greater the amount of time I spent at St. Barbara and Harrison City. So clearly I thought, if I felt that loneliness, I don't feel that lonely right now, but if I felt that loneliness after 5.5 years, yearning back for the people that I fell in love with, clearly, as he sang Mass down there at Mother of Sorrows, and their last Mass is at 11:30. Right now, it is 11:30. Clearly, he's probably walking down that aisle at Mother of Sorrows Parish. Maybe at this point, he's already turned around at the presider's chair. He's looking out. And I remember when I listened to those 3 homilies, last 3 homilies of Monsignor Gaston's, he made reference to your pictorial directory that you just made and have started to distribute. And he said that he can go through the pictorial directory here at St. Margaret Mary, and he knows every face, and he has a story with every face that he sees. But he also mentioned he got a hold of the pictorial directory at Mother of Sorrows. He flipped through it, doesn't know anyone. And something tells me that right now, as he's standing in front of those people, he's looking out at that congregation. He's saying to himself, these, at this point, aren't the people I fell in love with back at St. Margaret Mary. I think right now, right at this very moment, he has this incredible feeling of loneliness. Something tells me right now, if he had the ability, he would jump in his car and drive back to here. So here's what we're going to do. I'll give you the instruction, and then we're going to do it. I'm going to ask the ushers, fellas, if you're good enough to open up those doors in the back. They're going to open up the exterior doors, perimeter doors. And what we're going to do, we're going to eventually stand, we're going to turn around, face the exterior doors, and give Monsignor Gaston a round of applause of warmth. Now, they say the sound waves never die. They just continue to travel through space forever. And hopefully our clap will make its way all the way down to Mother of Sorrows, only a 16-mile flight. And if he is experiencing loneliness, as I am certain, because not only a priest, he's just a man as I. If he's experiencing loneliness, hopefully he will hear that clap, he will be coddled and warmed by it, and he'll be able to continue on through the rest of the Mass. So if everyone will be good enough to stand, turn around and face the exterior perimeter door, and let's get that clap of warmth through that door. Thank you, everyone. And something tells me that it's traveling through the waves. Hopefully it makes it down to Mother of Sorrows. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's sweet, guys. That's sweet. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's very kind. Very kind of you. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, folks. Okay. Thank you. Now I have a little personal message, just in case this is the Mass, and I'm not too sure which one of the Masses I had this weekend, which one of those gets recorded and placed on YouTube. But I am positive, because I know Monsignor Gaston, he's a good buddy of mine, we've known each other for years. And if this is the Mass that's being recorded and it's going to be placed on YouTube, something tells in my heart he's going to turn on YouTube just to see what I had to say. So I want to send him, if you just be patient with me, I want to send a personal message to my buddy, and actually I don't call him face to face because we're friends. I don't call him Monsignor Gaston, I call him Jimmy. So I want to send my friend Jimmy just a little personal message. I'm going to try to remain as calm as I can, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that. But Jimmy, am I supposed to look at camera number 1 or 2? But whatever camera it is, this is my personal message to Jimmy. Jimmy, you rock, baby! You rock! You know, when I walk down the center aisle, unfortunately, I've got that in already. I thought about this weekend since being transferred. I thought to myself, Kenny, you'll have to do that 5 o'clock Mass, 8:30, 11 o'clock. You'll have to experience that walk down the center aisle 3 times. I got them all in. Thank Jesus. Now, when I walked down that center aisle, I thought to myself, as you turn sideways, and properly so, that was good instruction that Monsignor Gaston gave to all of you. That's a great way to acknowledge the entrance of the presider at Mass. But when I walked down the center aisle, I said to myself, Kenny, there just might be, I think it would be in small number, because Monsignor Gaston was near a generation here, 3.5 years shy of a generation. And if you ever want to affect change and rub your life onto someone else, if you're with someone near a generation, you will be clearly affected by that person. You become that person in many ways. So when I walked down that center aisle, I said, Kenny, there just may 1 or 2 people that will smile as you walk by in their face and in their heart. I think that number would have been small. So my job is, for those who might have smiled as I walked in, my job here is to make sure that that smile stays on your face. But I said to myself, as I walk down the center aisle, and there's going to be a lot of people who obviously realize I'm not Monsignor Gaston, because I'm not. And clearly what a new pastor does, I am here to replace the position, but not the persona. So as I walked down that center aisle, I said to myself, there might be a lot of frowns, because a lot of those people, rightly so, should be yearning for Monsignor Gaston back. And my job then is to do 2 things. If you smiled as I walked down, the 1 or 2 that might have is to make sure I keep that smile on your face. If you did in fact frown, my job is to make sure I turn that frown around, and give you a smile. But clearly what happens, but really the job is to replace the position, not the persona. Monsignor Gaston was effective here for all those years because he did something here that no one in this entire world, and that's 4 billion people, that no one can do better than he, and he was himself. And I said to myself, Kenny, you got to do the same thing. That's what worked for me at St. Barbara and Harrison City, and effectively worked. With great disappointment, I had to leave that parish. But since coming here Wednesday, that disappointment has kind of been erased a little bit because I run across great people. But I said to myself, Kenny, do the exact same thing. Do what's always worked in your life. I have very few assets, but there's one thing that I do better than anyone else in this world. There's one thing I do better than anyone else in this parish, and that's to be me. I have it down pat. So I'll just be me, and maybe, just maybe, it'll work as well as it did at St. Barbara and Harrison City. Thank you.